Here's your Pinpoint Weather 12 forecast.
Well, over the last 24 hours, we've seen a shift in the storm track with each model run further and further west into Connecticut. And that certainly changes the distribution of who gets rain and who gets wind. But we should note, if this trend continues further and further west, it would be a significant change in the weather, a change for the better. With that said, we are still forecasting a high-impact, significant storm on Sunday, but we are going to see if that trend continues. We've got new data coming in during our 11 o'clock news from the National Hurricane Center, and certainly tomorrow is a quiet weather day, all day tomorrow to be analyzing data as well. But here's what we have, a storm surge warning for the areas in purple, and quite simply storm surge meaning a coastal flooding, the wind pushing the water, the ocean towards the coast and up the bay and up Buzzards Bay, and a 3 to 5 foot storm surge possible along the coastline during the time of high tide, which will be kicking in. High tide is scheduled for around between 8 and 9 o'clock on Friday, actually on Sunday evening. So we're going to watch that high tide cycle very closely. We have another high tide cycle on Saturday evening as well, but we're not anticipating any problems with that high tide cycle. So we'll watch the tides very closely as we take a look at the storm surge. Now, what we're seeing is, what we're anticipating is that with an onshore flow of wind on the water towards the coastline, what that's going to do is just quite simply it's going to push the water towards the coast, and that is going to cause kind of a pileup of the water, what we call the storm surge. So that onshore wind out of the south and southeast, especially coinciding with an astronomical high tide, we're talking about a storm surge somewhere on the order of 3 to 5 feet. That is the forecast for Sunday evening. So fairly quiet across New England right now. 800 miles to our south is developing tropical storm Henri, which is anticipated to become a hurricane. The latest from the Hurricane Center, with winds still sustained at 70, but anticipated to become a Category 1 hurricane, perhaps even a little stronger. There are a couple of things in its favor as far as it getting stronger. One is that it's over very warm water right now, and two, the environment, the air environment around it is conducive to further strengthening over the next 24 to 36 hours. So the forecast track over the last 24 hours has been trending further and further to the west. So let me take you in even closer. And this is significant because it changes the distribution of rain and wind. You know, initially the storm track was here this morning and yesterday, and now it's shifted back towards eastern Long Island and central Connecticut. So that makes all the difference in the world as far as what side of the storm you're on. And typically in these tropical systems, on the east side you have the strongest wind. Along the path of the storm and on the west side you have some of your heaviest rain. So while we miss, fortunately, the tropical downpours and the flash flooding rains, we are on the windy side of the storm, and that's why we still have some strong wind gusts in the forecast and the potential for some power outages. Notice with the shift in the storm track where the heavy flooding rains are going to be confined to central and western Connecticut. So that's the good news for us here in Rhode Island and southeastern Massachusetts, but the other side of the coin are the stronger winds and that storm surge. And obviously with the storms out at sea, the waves will be building. Look at these wave heights increasing Saturday night into Sunday. All this wave energy coming across our shoreline, extreme surf, dangerous rips. So the storm surge forecast is on the order of 3 to 5 feet. So these colors represent ocean level heights in Buzzards Bay, Narragansett Bay, and along the south coast, somewhere between roughly 3 and 5 feet, Narragansett Bay and Buzzards Bay, that astronomical high tide on Sunday evening between 8 and 9 o'clock. These are the tides along the coastline on Sunday evening. And while the storm will be moving inland at that time, we still may have some issues with a surge rise along our coastline on Sunday evening. As far as wind potential, based on the storm track, strongest winds, southern part of the state, Newport, Washington County, especially towards Westerly, Groton, New London. It is right down in here where gusts could be anywhere from 50 to 75 miles per hour. Further inland in the 40 to 50 range, and further north and west weak. Wind speeds of that magnitude can take down tree limbs and power lines, and certainly wind speeds in the 50 to 70, 75 can cause some significant damage as far as trees and power outages. So you get the distribution of where the strongest wind will be. Rainfall, we're fortunate that we're not going to get the real soaker, but out in Connecticut, that's where the flooding rains will occur. There you have wind gusts forecasts between 40 and 75, and that storm surge of about 3 to 5 feet. Tomorrow is a quiet day, no concerns at all, with a mix of clouds and sunshine. Not a bad beach day, 85 degrees. The weather going downhill, certainly by daybreak on Sunday as far as increasing rain and wind. It'll really ramp up Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. And then by Monday, still some lingering effects, but the trend will be some improvement, especially by Monday afternoon. New update from the Hurricane Center comes in at 11 o'clock. And really check back with us tomorrow, see if this trend west continues. That'll be significant if it does.
You were saying the last time we saw something hook that far west was Sandy, right?
So it's unusual at this latitude to take that left-hand turn. They usually bend more northeast. So this one's almost kind of like a Sandy in terms of it wanted to go more to the left.
All right.